seems you haven't neglected your training even for a moment. Otherwise, this fight wouldn't miss. I guess that's...
More is how I left the Old Country Bumpkin episode number 3. I just wanted more. The end of the episode with them encountering a griffin, I thought was really, really cool. And from a historical contextual, like, you know, getting context, getting more familiar with the characters, getting more of a relationship with the characters in the show, including Beryl himself, along with Surena, I think it did really wonders for it. So for me, this is the perfect flow of things to go, right? It's episode 1 and 2 really sold the show to us. It really said like, hey, here's what you can expect from the show. Here's why you should watch it. Here's some characters that matter and kind of like will get your interest. And then we're going to continue to build up these stories with interesting ways of telling flashbacks or retelling kind of how we got here. So I love that. This episode, we were all focused on not only Surena's past, but Beryl as well. You know, considering that Surena was with him 20 years ago. And 20 years ago, this dude was like 17, 18, 19 years old, right? Because he's like, I think when you look up his age range, they say late 30s, early 40s. So he's somewhere in the ballpark between like 35 and 45 at the very most. So he's, you know, he's still young, but, you know, they keep calling him old man. But, you know, he's somewhere, you know, he was somewhere in the ballpark, you know, 18, 19, 20 years old at the most when Surena met him all them years ago, and now it's been 20 years. So for him, we get some context passed about how he looked a little bit younger, how he ran himself, how he was still running the dojo, how he was still training all the kids and everything. We still got all of that stuff, which I thought was really, really cool. And we also got to see on how he also attempted to not necessarily be an adventurer, but to try and do adventure type things in the past as well. And he kind of failed at doing that. And he didn't necessarily fail, but he encountered some monsters. And per his words, he kind of wimped out and ran away. So he just never tried it again, although he could be incredible. And we also got a lot of context and history for Surena. We got to see what happened with her parents and when she got lost. And it was like not a bear attack, but it was like a monster bear type attack that took her parents out, and she fell off a cliff. And Beryl was the one that found her and kind of nursed her back to life and taught her the ways of the sword, all the way up to maybe a year or two, where she finally got adopted by another family. You have to assume around the age of 12, you know, somewhere around there, give or take a year or two each way. But she got adopted by another family, and what spurred her wanting to be an adventurer was to never have what happened to her family happen to someone else's family. So she wants to protect people. But then she also wanted to see the world as well, too. So I thought that was a really cool thing to see. Her relationship with Beryl, and to see all of her past, and to see all the colors that she has, which I thought was really, really cool. To see how powerful she's become. I thought that was really dope. The rest of the episode also had the cliffhanger we got left off on last week with him challenging the head of the magic division. And he didn't get embarrassed. Like, he held his own, and he was able to really put in the work, and he was able to really show what he could do, all the way up to her being pushed to having to use like her ultimate spell at the end, and her deciding, you know what, I don't think I really need to do it. You proved yourself. So now he's gonna have a cool relationship with the magic guild person, lady, whatever, which I think was really cool. And lastly, he was tapped on the shoulder to also trade adventures, which led up to him having a bout. When I say about, like a match with Surena, where he showed off his skills and he was able to best her once again. So I loved every part of the episode. I think this episode was a 9 out of 10. There was just one thing that I don't quite like, and it's mostly because it's like old man to old man. It's kind of like, I don't understand how he's not getting the hint. He is humble, right? He's very humble, and he doesn't think of himself as a sword master per se. But at the end of the day, I think, lot of times we're not the best judge of ourselves. Okay, I think we can all admit that sometimes we have a good grasp, but there still might be 10%. You know, there might be a little portion of ourselves that we're not, you know, the best judge. It does take someone else to kind of say something. So if it's kind of one of those things to where, like, if you don't think you're, I'll just do a very basic example. If you don't think that you're, like, let's say, good looking, but as you go out into the world, you're constantly having people you know and don't know tell you that you actually are, whether you're very pretty or you're very handsome, right? Now, at first, you might think, oh, this one person has this view of me. It's not necessarily true. They just see me in that light. Then you might think, oh, well, they're just complimenting me because, you know, I was nice to them. They're being nice back. You know, but eventually when it starts to happen over and over and over and over, it ends up being the truth. And the truth isn't how you see it, it's how others see it. And I think that's what we're happening here with Beryl. It's like, okay, at what point does he continually be told, like, you're the best swordsman we've ever seen? And now in his mind, he's like, oh, these are just my disciples hyping me up, gassing me up. But he's had disciple and father and other disciple and other person and guild leader and the magic division leader and his other older disciple and the guy who took over his trading class before. So at some point, you know, we've had about 6 to 8 individuals now all really acknowledge the fact that he got the stuff, including the commander's vice commander and her students. So it's like, okay, well, at what point does he wake up to where he's like, you know what? Actually, I might be hot shit. I might be actually pretty good at this, you know? And I think that would need to happen sooner than later, in my opinion. But, you know, that's kind of my only blight spot on the show is just, okay, like, I get it. You know, I get it. You know what I mean? He has this view of himself like, I'm not there. And in this episode, he was like, oh, I can't even beat my dad. It's like, okay, I was waiting for Surena to be like, okay, well, when's the last time you tried? You know what I mean? And it's probably been, like, he probably tried when he was, like, a lot younger. You know, like, maybe when he found Surena, he probably tried in that era. But if it's been 20 years, he probably hasn't tried to re-challenge his dad in a long time. So he's probably much stronger, more nimble, more, like, even his dad was like, oh, yeah, he's got to get out of here. He's the best thing, you know? So anyways, this episode was awesome. I loved it. I think Surena is an incredible character. I think she's my favorite. I do like the commander quite a bit too. I love that she's just like he's gonna wife me up whether he likes it or not. I do like her attitude. But design wise, I think I like Surena the most design wise, and she's closer in age to him too, because he found her again between that 10 and 12 range, and at that point he was 19, 18, 19, 20, whatever it was. So there's probably like only like a 8 to 10 year gap between them, as opposed to the commander, where it seems like there might be more closer to 15, 20. So it just, you know, age wise too, he seems to be closer to this girl as well. So anyways, thank you so much for being here, my friends. I appreciate you guys. As always, you know, we're watching a masterpiece in the making. I think this is a really good show, and I love that it's dubbed. The dub is so good too. So whether you're watching sub or dub, we're getting some quality show here. So I'll see you guys next week for episode number 4. Peace out, my friends.